Hello again and welcome to Pearl Magazine. We all hope and dream that the new year will be better than the last. Zella Chin speaks with different cross-sections of Hong Kong society to find out what their goals and plans are for 2024 and learns of their expectations for the city.
On a Friday afternoon, this group of 5- and 6-year-olds are practicing their Cantonese. They are of Indian and Nepalese descent, born and raised in Hong Kong.
So all the children who come into us, their parents belong to the blue-collar families. So a typical parent would be working as a construction site worker, working as a cleaner, working as a security guard, or as a waitress in a small restaurant.
After morning classes at school, they come to this tutoring center in Jordan for additional Chinese language support. Manoj Dar is a former banker. He and his wife started the center in 2015 for underprivileged ethnic minority children, ages 5 to 17 years old.
We felt that there was a certain segment of the ethnic minorities in Hong Kong who were stuck in this rut of intergenerational poverty. It's language which is preventing them from integrating, which is preventing them from getting better jobs, from finishing schools, getting into universities.
Children come to the center 5 to 6 times a week to get extra help with their academic studies, especially Chinese.
The academic support is more to do with helping them overcome the deficiency of them not getting the opportunity to pick up the language at school.
Today, Manoj has 2 centers with 280 kids. And last November, he opened a new premises for a kindergarten. The goal is to teach children full-time in Cantonese, Putonghua, and English.
They are fearless and they pick up 2-3 languages very easily. So if at that age, they are provided the equal language learning opportunities, then as they get into the schools, they'll get into better schools because they'll be bilingual, trilingual.
In 2024, Manoj is securing licenses for the school and hopes to welcome the new students by March.
It will be a good, healthy composition of Chinese and non-Chinese speaking children who may not have the capability of affording expensive schools. So they grow up together, learning from each other, learning of each other, learning each other's cultures, learning each other's languages.
Anything special for the new year?
Yes, over summer actually we had been working with our kids. So for example, this being the year of the dragon, so somebody drew a dragon. But the important thing was to take them through the journey and the learning experience of appreciating Chinese culture. And you know, Chinese calligraphy is not easy. So that's a very nice motivating way to help a child learn the language. So yeah, so
it makes
that
it a lot easier, right?
Yes,
it's not
definitely.
intimidating anymore.
And then plus, yeah, at the end of the day, for the start of the year, they get this nice, lovely calendar.
And his wishes for the ethnic minority children in the new year?
We hope that they continue to benefit from not just the academic support we provide them, but they prosper and bloom from their mental, physical, emotional well-being with the sports and the cultural activities and the artistic activities that we provide for them, and eventually grow up to be productive and responsible citizens of Hong Kong.
有陣時如果佢太白咧，咁反而咧個焦點咧就會放咗喺呢個白色嘅位置就會突咗出嚟啦，同埋喺近眼嘅位置啦。咁人哋一
My name is Joy. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I'm half Filipino, half Ugandan. I speak fluently in Cantonese and I speak English as well. Hong Kong has been my home ever since.
Joy started her own business as a makeup artist in 2019.
I wanted to do a job where it's more creative and I get to travel around to different places and I can also get to meet a whole bunch of different people. I wanted to have a job where it can suit my personality of being very active and I can create beauty for other people around me.
But during the pandemic, her makeup business was suspended because there are no events, fashion shows, nor weddings. So she pivoted.
I worked in an office job, and at that time there were still many people that were working from home, but I was starting just new, so I went in just a couple of days working customer service, and that's a skill that I have, talking to customers and phone calls for clients.
Prospects were looking up for her makeup business with the end of COVID-19 pandemic restrictions in early 2023.
People were more open for doing in-person events. I definitely felt a shift after things have opened up. Definitely more calls have coming in where they need a makeup artist.
Joy spent the last year learning new skills to run her business.
Or I didn't know these knowledges before, let's say the business side of it, and how to do marketing, how to find the right audience, how to charge my pricing right, and how to make this profitable. That was the hardest challenge. It was something that was outside of the actual makeup and hair skills.
And her New Year resolution?
My hopes for my business in 2024 is that I can reach out to even more clients and I can do more wedding makeup.
And Joy wants other businesses in the city to have a good start to the year.
Now that the pandemic has ended, more business will come, and all the businesses that paused during that time, they can earn back the money that was lost.
Terence Chung is the executive director of the Lao Tzu Tech Institute of Global Economics and Finance at Chinese University. The economist has big plans for the new year.
Well, our center focus on the research on the Chinese economy and the global economy. We'll keep working on this area, and we hope we can publish more paper on how the Chinese economy is performing, how to improve the economy of China and Hong Kong.
And he is optimistic for the Hong Kong economy in 2024. Apartment prices dropped by 5.6% in the first 11 months of 2023. With the expected cut in the U.S. interest rate this year, Terence anticipates property prices will increase.
I expect the housing market will going up again, but it may not grow as fast as what we experienced like 5-10 years ago.
He expects the Hang Seng Index to perform better in 2024 after 4 years of declines.
If you look at what we call a cyclically adjusted price-earning ratio of the Hang Seng Index, it's quite low. It's like 10, 11 is like of historical low. So Hong Kong stocks are very cheap. So I guess there's a chance that the stock will bounce back to like over 23,000, maybe 24,000 in 2024.
And some safe sectors to invest in the new year?
If you want to invest in the stock market, the company that you pick should be the company with stable income. For example, the utility company, the electricity company.
The economist says visitor arrivals will continue to increase.
We have been receiving like 3 to 4 million tourists each month. But in 2019, we received like 6 million. So there's still some room for us to grow. And we still have capacity to receive the tourists.
With more visitors arriving in the city, Terence anticipates they will spend more in the SAR.
So the retail will not be that bad. So I would expect like a single-digit growth in this year. And you can see that our like hotel occupancy rate is close to 90%. In these 2 months, and that's like highest over the past 10-20 years. So our hotel is also asking for a very high rate. So the tourism is performing well.
More people arrived and settled in the SAR in 2023, thanks to the government's schemes to attract talent. And Terence expects the workforce will continue to grow.
Unemployment rate will still maintain at a very low level, And the workforce, also the employed person will also increase given that we have a high demand of our talent scheme from this mainland talent. So the labor market will still perform well and the wage will still go up.
The city's exports dropped by 9.4% in the first 11 months of 2023 year-on-year. But The Economist anticipates exports will bounce back in 2024.
Especially in November in 2023, we have an increase in export even in terms of the US dollar. And there are some sectors in China which is still thriving, like the electric car. We will likely become the largest electric car exporting country in the years to come. So the export is bouncing back.
And finally, The Economist forecasts a bright year for the city. His prediction for the 2024 GDP?
2 to 3% should be no problem, because 2023 we are bouncing back, we are opening up, so everything is like look good. But this year, because based on the 2023 level, it's difficult to grow at a higher speed.
Up next, how the development of the Northern Metropolis is going through the government's land resumption program as squatters are due compensation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. The government has invoked the Land Resumption Ordinance to take back land for the Northern Metropolis development. But it involves tens of billions of dollars in compensation, some of it to squatters. At the end of 2023, the government revised its plan to allow private developers to apply for in-situ land exchanges in development areas to speed up land creation and save money. Reporter Alice Khan looks at whether this strategy is helping the government access all the land it needs for development. In 2020, the government started to retake land for public housing and schools in Fanling North and Kwutong North. It also allowed private developers who accumulated 4,000 square meters of land in these areas and all the lots contained under a unified ownership to apply for in-situ land exchange. This 100-year-old building featuring traditional Chinese architecture was a primary school. It marks the history of this neighborhood in Kwutong North.
The school will be demolished. Shall we take a photo for our memories?
Very soon. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
I received a letter about building of the North Rail. In the second quarter of 2024, residents have to move out. 1,000 households will be affected.
Kenneth Mo is a flower board making master. His family has been living in this 300-square-foot squatter hut for generations.
I am now living and working here. Sometimes I don't even have space for a bed. See, you have so many things here. Because of the small space, I have to put lanterns outdoors.
Kenneth says he needs a place with an outdoor space to display his large flower board.
What is the size you need?
Usually, we need 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. The ceiling height is 4 or 5 meters high because of the bamboo sticks.
Actually, you already knew this. Why didn't you find accommodation earlier?
Actually, I started the plan 4 or 5 years ago. I searched many places. The new territories is in the process of development. It's not easy. If I move to other places, those places will be resumed.
These sheds will have some land, you can put your bicycle outside. You know, there's all kind of benefits for being on the ground rather than in a small flat upstairs. They've known it for a long time.
Initially, the government only allowed private developers to apply for in situ land exchange in the Kutong North, Fanling North, and Hengshui-Q, Ha-Chun new areas, while the government resumes all the land in other new development areas. The market-expected land resumption will incur at least $30 billion in compensation. At the end of December, the Development Bureau expanded the in-situ land exchange scheme to all new development areas, allowing developers who own 90% of private land within the Northern Metropolis site. The government will take the remaining 10% of private land and grant it to the developers for the whole site. The government says the revised arrangements will reduce the upfront spending on land resumption and public works, while allowing the government to receive the premium revenue earlier.
The government is effectively helping the private developers to clear the hurdles in securing land titles. Is the government serving public interest or private developers' interest?
Last year, the government already lowered a standard premium from $5,000 per square foot to $2,600 per square foot to encourage developers to apply for land exchange. It set the end of 2023 as a deadline for 6 cases of in situ land exchange applications, but developers failed to meet the deadline. The Development Bureau replied that it would resume the 6 plots soon, level the lands, and sell them via tender for residential use. This surveyor says the standard premium is unattractive.
And if we look at current land market, which is quite sluggish and weaker or softer than before, developer concern those offer from the government is not cheap enough to go ahead. If I'm a developer, I need to pay $2,600. At the same time, I need to do a lot of infrastructure. Whereas like high-tech area, I can get the land by $4,500 per square foot. Everything is ready. It's urban. Northern Metropolis is more than 10 years planning in the future.
We asked the Real Estate Developers Association for a response, but they did not respond before deadline. The arrangements also affect the indigenous villagers' rights on their ancestral land or Cho Tong land, collectively owned by a clan or a family. The process of sale for Cho Tong land has been difficult due to the requirement of unanimous consent from all clan members. Also, if the manager of the land responsible for land sale is unreachable, or if the position is left vacant, that is another hurdle. In the past 2 years, the government is trying to amend the New Territories Ordinance to open up the development of Cho Tong lands.
Developers hoarded the land waiting for public-private collaboration.
What is the future land use?
There will be low and medium density residential and public housing down there.
Lung told us some ancestral lands here in Yuen Long South were bought by developers.
Now the government is helping developers, public-private participation, all kinds of measures to erode private landowners' rights and take our land. Here the plot ratio is 3-4 times. Developers can build 20, 30-story towers. The developers pay a few $1,000s of premium to the government, then the developers should give a few $1,000s to compensate indigenous villagers.
Lung says some of his Cho Tong land was taken recently.
It was our ancestor Lung Yuhing's land. The government invoked the Land Resumption Ordinance. Initially we had over 10,000 square feet of land to develop. Now the government has taken 1,000+ square feet, paying us more than $1 million in compensation.
Man's clan is the 5th largest clan in Hong Kong. They reside in San Tin, which will be the future site of the 627-hectare San Tin Technopole. Initially, the government was going to retake the land, but now developers can also apply for land exchange to change the land use. Man Fu Wan is the manager of the Cho Tong organization of the clan. He shows us their land.
Mr. Man, is this road your Cho Tong land?
Yes, both sides, about 40 hectares.
How many plots of land were sold to developers?
Some are sold. Majority are still kept by us. This fish pond on my left-hand side will be the site of the future Sha-Tin Technopole. Apart from the Technopole, you see the tall buildings over there? This is Shenzhen. It has a wetland as a buffer. In future, Hong Kong's biggest water lily pond will be built there. On my right-hand side, the land will be reserved for villagers to build houses. The land is very limited. I hope the government build houses and sell them at construction cost to villagers.
Man hopes the future Technopole benefits the clan members.
When our villagers come back from overseas, it offers a place for them to work.
Tony Mann is a member of the clan. He rents out his fish pond and owns land used for warehouses. He is unhappy with the new arrangement.
The government pays $1,260 per square foot as compensation. The current land price for my brownfield site is $3,000 per square foot. So the amount of my wealth is halved. Land is a symbol of our clan's wealth and social status. Now both will be taken away. We are the victim, we can't fight back.
That's our show for this week. Join us on Pearl Magazine, same time next week. Bye for now.